What if there's an automated way to find LinkedIn leads to get their name, their title, the description, find the URL, plug all that data into AI and have AI create a cold DM for me? Well, guess what? I've just built it. I just ran the automation and I've got 10 results here to show you. Obviously, you can increase this for 1,000, 2,000, 10,000. And if you are looking for leads, I encourage you to scrape as many as you can. But what this scraper has done is it's got the name, the profile URL, the follow count, and the description. And particularly, I was looking for CEOs in London of digital marketing agencies, okay? But what's great about this automation is that it's actually written the cold DM for me. So you can see this one here. Hey Mohammed, leading Britain digital sounds like a whirlwind of SEO audits and strategy. I built an AI that automates Google reporting to save businesses hours on analytics and SEO audits. How do you usually tackle the data crunch? Any tools you swear by? Now, what's great about this is that obviously I haven't done any of this. This is the AI agent that I've created that will use all the data that I've scraped and create a very personalized outreach message, okay? And what's important here is that we know his name, we know the company that works for, and we're kind of introducing our, my kind of competency, but I'm not selling anything, okay? And a pro tip here is always leave the first message with a question, because people are curious, they always want to answer questions, and you'll get a much higher response rate. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just using a manual trigger, but when you go live and you do this for yourself, you want to have an input trigger. So you could use a form, you could use a Telegram, chat, or Slack. It's entirely up to you, okay? Then the first node you want is a HTTP request. So if I click inside of this, we're going to basically run the search using SERP API, okay? So if you've never used SERP API, just head over to serpapi.com. You can sign up for a free account to give you 100 searches per month. This is the API key that you need, which is on the left-hand side. So you don't need to swipe my key. Honestly, guys, this is 100% free and they'll give you 100 searches per month for free, okay? So the endpoint we're using is the search.json, and this is the base URL, which is serpapi.com. And then you want to turn on the send query parameters because we need to send some data to SERP API, okay? So using these fields below, the first one is Q. And for this, I'm just using this search, okay? So I did a site.linkedin.com/in, which is the base URL of every LinkedIn profile. I'm looking for CEO in the title, and I'm looking for digital marketing as a job title, and also the location is going to be London. The next parameter you need is HL, which is EN, and that's for English. The third one is GL, and that's US, and that's obviously the location. And the last one is API_key, and then you just grab the API from this section here, okay? And then once you run it, you'll see this output here, okay? So there's a lot of content here. And so what the next thing we want to do is we want to extract the meaningful content, which is why I'm using a code node. So if I go inside of here, all this is doing is basically extracting the 4 fields that I want, which is name, the LinkedIn or profile URL, description, and the followers. And again, this is from the scrape data on the run SERP API node, okay? So it is a brief summary, and this is the code that I'm using for this. And that's all it's doing, it's just extracting the 4 main data points that I need, okay? Then the next 2 nodes are going to be a loop over items. So I have used this in a previous video, but if you haven't seen it before, just look for loop over items. And that's because I'm getting batches of results, okay? So for this video, I just ran it in batches of 10, but if you are doing this at home or for yourself or for a client, you want to scrape 1,000, 10,000, whatever the rate limit is. Okay, so inside of here, you just want the batch size of 1, which is what I've done for now. But obviously, you'll scale that up depending on how many you're scraping. And then the next node that you want is a Google Sheets node. So it's this one here, and you want the append row in sheet, okay? And so if I go inside of here, I've created a SERP API LinkedIn lead scraper sheet. I'll show you what that looks like. So you select that, and the operation is append row. You want to select the sheet, whatever it's called. I've just left that sheet 1. And then the 4 columns that I have is name, profile URL, the follow count, and description, okay? So what you want to do is you just want to copy these 4 over here, and you just do it manually, okay? That's all you need to do. Now, I have included followers in there. You could include that into your cold DM. I didn't do that, but I've just kept that kind of open for you guys. I don't know, it might kind of open up the, it could be an icebreaker, who knows, but it is there. So here you go, you've got the output there. for all 10 results, and you want to close it back up into the loop over items, okay? So where it says loop, close it back up. And the reason is because we are getting individual results, right? It's coming through blocks of 10 or blocks of 100 or blocks of 1,000, depending on how you set it up, okay? Once that's done, you want to add an OpenAI module, which is this one here. And so for the model that I'm using is 4.1 mini, which is very affordable. And this is message model task operation. And so this is a user prompt I've created, okay? So you are a B2B sales assistant. You'll be given a person's LinkedIn name, bio description. Your task is to write a short, personalized cold DM that feels conversation and relevant to their background, okay? This is very important. The goal is to start a conversation, not to hard pitch. That's the kind of approach that I've gone for. If you want my opinion, this is what works best, right? Because when I first started and I didn't have any clients, this is what I was doing. I was doing this exact process, okay? And I was getting a lot of responses because I'm not pitching anything. All I'm telling them is, this is what I do. What kind of tools are you using? That's the kind of angle I'm going for, okay? So the requirements are keep it under 500 characters, user-friendly, casual tone. For me, that always works on LinkedIn, just being friendly. Imagine having a conversation with your friend. I've never found that a professional, kind of like a formal message works, okay? Then reference something from their bio or role and end with a like question to encourage reply. Again, I highly recommend this because most people will want to respond back with an answer, okay? So the inputs are going to be the name and a description because that's where we're getting it from. And then the output I put as a JSON, and you'll see why. So basically the cold DM is the variable, and hey, insert name, running insert company, must mean juggling a ton of data, right? And so this is just an example of something that I want the output to look like, okay? That's not what I'm going to be sending these people. And so when you run it, you're going to get a variable called cold DM. That's what I've called mine. You can call it whatever you want. Just one last thing you need to make sure is that you simplify the output and you have the output as content as JSON, because this is a JSON variable, okay? And I'm asking it for a JSON value, okay? Then when you're done, you want to basically add an update sheet road. So you just go over here, go over to Google, find update sheet. And if I go inside of here, you just select the same sheet, and I'll show you that in a sec once I wrap up the video. And you want to map each column manually, okay? So the column match I'm using is profile URL because the profile URL is always unique, okay? No two profiles will have the same URL. It's obviously not allowed. And then so you want to match the profile URL from the first sheet, from the save lead sheet node, and then just grab this and move it across, okay? And then the last thing you want to do is you basically want to grab the cold DM variable and then move it over here, okay? So that's the automation in a nutshell. This is exactly what I use to find my first kind of 3-4 clients. It works, it's simple, and this is what the sheet looks like, okay? So let me show you the sheet again. This is the output of the sheet, and yeah, go ahead, find these people, send them a message, and get them signed up as a client.